vlog for the 22nd of November 2021 on Monday. Right now, it's Tuesday, 5:37 in the morning on 22 of November 21, Tuesday. I got up a little bit on the late side, maybe like 2 o'clock in the 2:30 is when I got up. But I was sleeping. I was in bed, awake in bed before that, because that's what I do every day. But I was down. Maybe I was working until like 8 or something, so I was down like only like 7.5 or whatever. So then I was working, and then my mom, or maybe I called my mom just to see what was up. And even though it was probably like too late, it was like 4 too late to do a bike ride, but she said she stopped by and we can go on a walk. I don't think we've been on a walk. Here at my house, she drove to my place and did a walk here, just down to the bike path and back. So, and then I asked if I could borrow a couple bucks because on Sunday I bought a joint for $2.49 after taxes, and I had like a couple dollars, so I was like, can I have a couple bucks? I want to buy a joint. She's like, I'll loan you $5. So she took me to dispensary, which is only like a block away, and I got a joint. Only the joints were $3.76 after taxes. So I think I'm going to start a tradition where I go in and I buy a joint every Sunday for $2.49. But that's the only day I smoke weed. I'll smoke weed only on Sundays. A joint, I think my lungs can handle smoking a joint a week. Not any more than that though, and $2.49 isn't much. So that's the day they have their sales. So, and then she offered to take me to the supermarket where I got a big sandwich. She thought those were a good deal. $7 for a giant hoagie. It's a meat sandwich. I'm normally not a meat eater, but when I'm with my mom and she wants me to be, I'll be a meat eater. So I think that's the only thing I ate for lunch. Yesterday, along with the potato that I air fried. Yes, French fries. So, yeah, after hanging out with my mom, she dropped me off, came back, and I worked some more, and I was working all night long until now, and I have 3 sections to go on the road, and then I'm done with the named Urban Roams on Italy. It was extra time because I was doing it with the polyglot tool instead of the line tool, but I think it's worth it because I think I'm going to be tracing a lot more roads, as I work. The general theme with me is as I work, as I go along, I become more ambitious, and so I'm at the point now that I'm like, I think what I want to do is just go ahead and Google Earth all of the Roman Empire, because you're going to get a way better view of what Rome was all about if you just go ahead and Google the whole thing. So I think what I want to do eventually is just Google Earth all of the roads with the line tool, not the polygon. I'd never get done if I did it that way, but with the line tool. But I think, and also all of the cities, because here and there you get quotes of how many cities were in various places in the Roman Empire, I think. And so I'll just go and listen to all the books that I've listened to until I get to that information. But I think in one book it said there were 1,600 cities in Spain, and there were like 1,500 in Italy or whatever, 1,300 in France or whatever. So 1,600 cities, I can handle that. I could do that. Because, in my time looking at stuff on Google Earth, I've become very good at identifying cities and old cities on Rome. In Google Earth, so I could easily and very quickly, like in a matter of a day or two, locate and trace the walls because I'll know exactly how big they're supposed to be too. All the cities of ancient Rome in like Spain, and then the next day or two do it in France, and then with all those cities, then I can do a Google Earth line tool them from the main roads that I know about out to the cities, to the towns, even Google Earth the roads out to them. And then I'll get on the list and I'll find all the different Roman artifacts, like constructions like aqueducts and coliseums and all that kind of stuff, amphitheaters, and just go ahead and Google Earth all of it, because like you're gonna come to certain insights that you wouldn't otherwise. For example, Italy. Like there's lots of cities in Italy that have amphitheaters from Rome, but not so much in other countries in the Roman Empire. And I think that's because the Italians in the Roman Empire were richer than everybody else. They were the only ones who had the money to do it, because they were the ones who didn't have to pay taxes. Everybody else had to pay taxes. And if you Google Earth that, it'll illustrate it and it'll show it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be all that time consuming, because you just do it at a lower resolution, a lower quality level, the farther you get out from the center, and it's worth it to do it like that, and instead of just not do it at all. So like, in Rome, you would Google Earth the entire Colosseum, like to absolute detail. But when you get outside of the city, all you have to do is just do a circle the size of the Colosseum, and then make it to the accurate height, and then just make it a certain color, like the Colosseum color, like white. And then do the same thing with the various other things, like the theaters, a different color. Make it like beige, and then the wall like red, And I think it's worth it. So tomorrow, I think, is going to be the first day, or today, when I get up later on this afternoon, where I do the next thing. I'll finally be done with the roads. It took forever, and I think the next thing that I want to do now, because I think it's going to be kind of easy, is finish tracing the tribes, ancient pre-Roman tribes, Ligurian tribes, from northern Italy and southern France, because I already traced their borders. I just did it very basically, like one line here, next line way up here. So all I have to do is just trace it and then connect them, all the ones, and within a few days. Maybe I'll give myself a week. I like working in a week and times of week, Monday to Sunday, like everybody else. That's what I was trying to get done by last Sunday. So I think in 1 week, by next Sunday, I can trace all the Ligurian tribes, and then that's out of the way. And it's an interesting thing. I'm gonna want other things to do with it, like, because then I'll make the appropriate villages in them, like build them to detail, with population for the ones that I know of. My goal eventually is to Google Earth literally everything that I come across in the classical literature, and so that I can then reference it. People don't do that enough. You hear people say so much stuff about the ancient world. So and so said this. They said this about this, and I'm like, where? So I'm gonna definitely link it all. And then I'm gonna wanna Google Earth. Tour of Italy, Giro d'Italia, Giro Dawn, the ones that go through Rome, and then all of the roads to all the battles in Rome, in Italy, and then and eventually all of Rome, and then the battles themselves, and maybe just start building random things like the Limes Germanicus, just different things that interest me, because I'm planning on Google Earthing it all, like the aqueducts too, but just as a line, not build them. And I think I might build them. I'm like actually building them to the height in actual Rome. So yeah, that's what I'm up to. Just had an energy drink. I bought 12 energy drinks on Amazon. They're supposed to come here today. It actually already shipped. Just because I've never bought energy drinks that way, and I'm just curious to see because it's so much cheaper, because I've been drinking them all lately because I've been smoking weed. But I'm curious if I can pace myself properly with the energy drink, because it's so much cheaper to buy it online. It's like a little over $1 if you get it online, and it's like $2.50 after taxes if you get it at the supermarket when they're on sale. And then they're all the way up to like $3.50 or something after taxes. You know what I mean? If you get them at the supermarket, at the gas station, which I did today. So I'm just curious. Get them in and see if I gobble them all up or if I can pace myself. If I gobble them all up, I won't buy them again. Even if I pace myself, I don't think I'm gonna get in the habit of drinking them. It's only because I was smoking weed. I think I'm getting a little bit too fat too. I don't know what my weight is, but so that's. But overall, I'm doing a pretty good job of not spitting. Monday, I just had an energy drink and then had a shower, and then like my coffee maker, like it made coffee. I could smell it. I got out of the shower. I was like, oh my god, the coffee's ready. Like my coffee maker takes like hours to make coffee. Like I don't know. I'm not hitting the button wrong. Like he has to heat up or something. I don't know what the deal is, but I hit the button and then like a day later, it's like all of a sudden it decides to make the coffee. So anyway, I have a warm coffee here, so maybe I'll drink that. Even though I just had an energy drink. But that'll keep me up. But I have to go with my mom to the H&R Block because the IRS said I owed all this extra money. So then I paid H&R Block $100 and then gave him my taxes, like the paperwork. And then the lady said she lost it. But now the IRS wants me to send them the facts of it, but I don't have them anymore because H&R Block has it, who lost it, who did my taxes wrong in the first place. I did my taxes once with TurboTax and it worked fine. And then I started doing it with H&R Block because I thought it would be more secure that way, but now it's not. So I'm like, fuck it, maybe next time I'll do it with the TurboTax. But I already paid the money they said I owed. So I wouldn't have to send it back because I think that was just if I was disputing it. Anyway, my mom's going to go there and talk to him with me at 11. So I'll go to sleep at like maybe like 8 or 9. Have like an hour to sleep before my mom comes, so I'll be like barely functionable. But at least I got, it wouldn't be worth it to get sleep last night just for a stupid night meeting. I needed this night to finally finish, get caught up. I mean, I have 3 more sections, and so that's like another like couple hours I have. It's forever to trace it with the polygon tool if you're going to do it right on the roads, but I think it makes it look so much better. So, and like it's Italy, and there's so much to Google Earth in Italy, so many battles and stuff. I think in the long run, it'll be worth it to polygon tool. Plus, when you do the roads to the different battles in the little villages and stuff, it's good to know which one is the real road when you're looking at it close up and stuff, and it'll be the one that's polygon. So, borderline too time consuming, but only time will tell. As I'm doing this, I think in my titles for my videos, I'm going to start titling what I'm listening to, not just what I'm building, but what I'm listening to, because it's like the 2 things that I'm doing. If I was only listening, if I had nothing to listen to and I was only tracing, I couldn't do it. It'd drive me crazy. But I can listen to stuff, makes it kind of worth it. So I've been listening to Mike Duncan podcast for the 2nd time about Rome. I'm concentrating too much. If I was doing something a little bit more brain candy, like copying and pasting, I could listen to a book read by the computer, like something directly off my website, a classic book. But because I'm like doing tracing, it's just a little bit too much RAM memory for me to be able to concentrate. So on a book, and so I have to actually listen to a person speaking with their voice, inflecting everything. So Mike Duncan podcast, perfect thing. And after that, I'm going to listen to other things. And yeah, it's good to just have as good of a base about the history of Rome as I possibly can by the time I Google Earth, so I can do a better job. Like I was Google Earthing all the different like village towns and stuff within Rome, like this Kingdom of Rome, and yeah, I'm looking at them and I like made them too big for a lot of them. So I'm gonna have to like redo them, make them smaller, but maybe that's the size they were in Rome. I'll have to decide, because a lot of them started like in the Bronze Age. So there's different sizes. I have the exact size. That's what I'm really excited about. But I just feel like I'm in a good place right now mentally. So it's like when you're in a good place mentally and you feel like you can work all day, every day without second guessing yourself, that's a good time to work extra hard get caught up on all the like time-consuming stuff, get out of the way. So that's what I'm doing now. But I've got so much more. It's like, when will I be done? I have so much stuff to do, if you include my website too, and then the timeline and everything. Oh my God. And then there's my studio, setting up my studio. It's like, it just mushrooms out of control. I mean, it could be like 5 years now. I was thinking 2.5 years, but now I'm thinking maybe 5 years. Um, but or maybe I could do it quicker than that. So we'll see. But anyways, that's enough talking. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll be talking about how I finally finished the roads of Rom, and I'll be working on the Ligurian tribes. I think I'm gonna take a week off at the beginning of the year to make sure that everything that I've been building is linkable on my website, and that all the other stuff that I have built overall is linkable on my website for download on Google Earth. But I'm not going to do that until the end of the month because I'm just trying to get caught up ahead as much as I can with this stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy I'm doing more than I ever imagined I'd do. Because I'm in the perfect situation to do it, I have all the time in the world, and I have all this cool stuff to listen to while I'm doing it. So it's like, do it, and like, part of me, like, there's two things that scare me in this world. I'm not worried about my health, so that's not in my mind because I feel fine. If I start having breathing problems that I can't manage, then I would just quit and I'd have to get started exercising all the time. But I don't think that's going to happen. So the two things that scare me, and one of them that kind of doesn't really scare me at all, is running out of money. But that doesn't really scare me. I don't think about that so much because I don't spend anything. And then the other thing that scares me, which keeps me motivated, is like that all of the work that I'm doing is going to end up being moot, because it's like such obvious work. It's like, why am I the person who does this? It's like on one side, it's like, well, if I pull it off and nobody else is doing it, it's like, wow, what a great purpose in life, like I get to be the guy to Google Earth Rome. But then the other side of me is like, surely there's somebody else doing it. Like, why am I doing it? Like, why isn't a big company doing it or somebody else? So it's like I need to keep going because I'm like scared that by the time I'm done, somebody else is going to be done before me doing the same thing. Like I'm like convinced there's like all these other people, like companies, and maybe with more manpower or somebody else doing what I'm doing, and they're going to, like, Google or something. By the time I'm done, they're like, oh, look, we have it. Exactly what you have. What? So, but then again, I think it's worth it. Worth a little gamble that I'm making. I think it's worth it because if you look at history, we don't have a good track record of saving history. We lose it all. Even Rome lost so much. And like entire books, entire sections of popular writers, history, and you always have these like seeming like societal climaxes, and it's getting better, but then these little snafus happen, like crash in the economy or world wars that divert people's attention, or just mass retardation, which is happening now. So it might turn out that I'm the only person who's gonna do this in the foreseeable future. So it's like it's important enough for me to do it. So that's why I'm justifying spending all the time to do it. How long will it take? I'm still ahead of the curve. Like, I'm making enough progress for it to be worth it. For me to think that in a reasonable time period, I can be done with everything that I foresee myself starting. So I keep saying this year after year. Like, in a year, I'll be able to gauge. And then next year goes by, and in a year, I'll be able to gauge if I'm like getting there, and I'm at the same spot now as I've always been. Like I'm like, who knows? Like, I feel like in a year I could be in the same spot, just like working. But I mean, I'm the only one who knows exactly the progress I'm making every day, and I can see that I'm doing a lot. So it's still worth it. So it's kind of like, at this point, it's like, will I be done by the time I'm 50, or how far ahead will I be by the time I'm 50? And then can I be done by the time I'm 60? Well, yeah. So anyways, that's what I'm up to tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be talking about how I'm making good progress, tracing the tribes of the Illyrians, finishing that up. Okay, talk to you tomorrow.